So this video goes out to all those people who have been playing for some years and you've learned music to a certain point. You have your songbook, and you have your songbook that you learned from, and you've learned all the kind of generic type of songs, and you realize that you're kind of getting bored with your instrument. This is a very interesting spot to be in. We've all been there, and it's kind of a turning point. This was a turning point for me personally once I got to this point on my violin, piano, and guitar. Those are the three instruments that I'm currently playing. I've been with violin the longest, and it was around when I was 13 when I actually put it down for some years. I was learning all the usual songs, and I was actually getting to some more advanced songs, but it just wasn't, I realized that it was something that my parents had for me doing. It wasn't something that I was interested in doing. So when I was 13, I put violin down. A year before that, I stopped playing piano. And I really, at this point, never really got into guitar. So not playing any instruments. However, at the same time, I also was getting more into different genres of music. Before this, I hadn't really got into rap. My dad wouldn't really play rap. And to be honest, before 13, I was only listening to the songs that my dad would be listening to. And he only had like a couple rap songs here and there. 13, I started branching out on my own, listening to this music, and I'm getting into rap and some pop and R&B. And of course, I'm enjoying it. You know, like I never leave music. Fast forward a year later, I'm listening to one of my favorites, Childish Gambino. I tried learning one of his songs on guitar. Guitar felt different to me in that kind of moment. Like I wasn't playing the song because somebody else wanted me to do it. I was doing it because I wanted to do it. It really opened up a new avenue for guitar. And then fast forward a little bit later, I did the same thing on piano, of course, another Childish Gambino song. And it felt different. I wasn't learning the songs from my lesson book and being bored and being kind of, you know, like this is good music to learn, technically, of course. I was getting really bored with that. On the flip side, I was having so much fun learning these songs that I loved listening to. And so I kept with that. I kept music not as something so mandatory, because I know how it is going to the weekly lessons and you have to practice and you need to practice for the next lesson because the teacher is going to be there and they're going to ask you to do practice and da-da-da-da. I've been in the teacher role and I've been in the student role, and I know how both goes. And though that setup is good for a certain amount of time, it's not something that's best long term. It's good for just a season or two. And after that, it's kind of, depending on what you want to do, of course, and where you want to take music, of course, but it's really good to find what you enjoy, which we're going to get into just now. Once again, if you are a person who's kind of getting bored with your instrument, piano, violin, guitar, saxophone, trumpet, trombone, whatever the case may be, I highly, highly recommend taking a step back. Communicating with your teacher. If they're a good teacher and they're not just there for the money, they will hear you out and they will also give you some tips as well as to what you should do. Because we all go through this. It's not something that's just you. Majority of people do this, and your teacher, I can almost guarantee, has gone through a point in time, unless they're like some genius musician that never put it down or whatever the case. And you know, some people like to lie too. So you have to kind of sense it out. That's what I would recommend in that scenario. But you definitely do want to let your teacher know, hey, this is going on, boom, 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 and I'm thinking about taking a step back. Whatever their reaction is, whatever the reaction of your parents is, don't be swayed by that. I know when we're young, I'm still young, this is funny. When we're little, parents and teachers and all those people above us are the dictators, right? And that's very right and correct and exact, naturally put there. You also, at whatever age, want to start developing your own voice. And that starts by letting them know, hey, I'm not having fun with this. I want to go in this direction here. Once again, I highly, highly recommend, and you can share this video with them. I recommend you taking a step back for a week or 2 weeks or 3 weeks, seeing what kind of music do you listen to? And this might get a little tricky. You want to take a step back and you want to see what kind of music do you listen to and what do you enjoy playing the most. You really want to take a step back and you really want to really see what are you trying to do with music. Music is not something where you just open up a book and you play the song. Music has been reduced to that, but music inherently is not that. Music is something much more grand, inspiring, and really has a emotional and spiritual context to it. Music has been something, though, once again, reduced to just looking at a page and playing the notes and playing the songs just because you have to. But that is really not what music is. In order to turn your relationship with music right now into something where you are there and you're enjoying it and you like what you're doing with your instrument, you really need to look within and look at the music that you enjoy. Now, for those that listen to the straight debauchery of some genres, you guys know what genres I'm talking about. Okay. Once again, music has an emotional and spiritual context to it. And so if that is kind of where your emotions and your spirit is, then that's cool. But let's develop that into something deeper. This is not a video on, spiritual. This is music, and music and the spiritual is best when these two coincide. But yes, you definitely want to take a step back and you want to look, what do I enjoy? Because whatever you enjoy, that's the path that you want to take. You don't want to continue just playing songs just to play songs. You want to find out, what do you enjoy? Where is your heart at? Because once again, music is just communication, and music is a communication of an emotion or an idea that deeply resonates with you and that you're trying to communicate to your audience. And so if you're just on stage playing songs that you have no regard for, that you have no emotion connected to, then that's going to be the product that we get as an audience members. And, we'll clap because you're showing us skill and you're showing us time and dedication, but you won't kind of get our attention. You will just be playing some notes on a page. And so if you feel disconnected from your instrument, take a step back. That time that you're taking a step back is very, very, very important, because all the old patterns and all the old habits and thought processes that you've developed over however many years of playing, those are going to be there until you work through them and you work past them. And so this period of time where you're taking a step back, you're kind of stepping away from all this kind of habits that you built up. You're really separating yourself from it. You're trying to figure out the new direction that you want to go in. You don't want to go back into the direction after taking a step away. If you do go back to learning songs in a book, which is fine, and learning sheet music, because we're always going to be using sheet music to communicate songs, right? That's not going to be the case. It's what we've developed, it's what we've used, but that's not what really I'm talking about. What I'm saying here is you want to take a step back from this kind of habit of just looking at sheet music and learning it because it's there. We want to take a step back, and we want to forevermore, after this point of taking a step back, do away with this style of learning music and look at sheet music, look at any song that we are learning or creating, learning it, playing it through the lens of communication. What am I communicating? What was the composer communicating? What was he trying to let the audience know? What emotion or feel or vibe, aesthetic was he trying to communicate? I recently did a performance of Vivaldi's Four Seasons, and it's a beautiful example because it's not something completely personal, but he was once again trying to convey the emotions or convey the feel of each of the seasons that we experience on this planet. What kind of vibe, what thoughts do you get when you were little in springtime? You know what I'm saying? What emotions did you experience in summer when the thunderstorms were going on, right? Because this is what Vivaldi in Vivaldi Four Seasons is writing about. He actually wrote poems. I didn't know that until a couple weeks ago. He wrote poems about the seasons. So getting into the mindset of the composer as well is also part of that conveying the emotion. It might not be your emotion that you're conveying, but you're conveying the emotion of the composer or the writer of the song. And so this now is really getting into what music truly is. Music is not something, once again, I'm going to say this forever, because music is not something where you pick up a book or you pick up a piece of sheet music and you look at it and you just learn the notes. Music is not the point of music is not to learn notes and play notes. The point of music is to, once again, convey an emotion, convey a feeling that the audience can receive and experience as well. That is and will always be the goal of music. The only reason why we would want to take a break, like how I did, like I mentioned in the beginning of the video, is because we've only been taught how to play notes. But that's only maybe half of the journey of a musician. The other half is this emotional, spiritual development, character development, where you're trying to match up your emotions, almost like an actor, match up your emotions with the script that is your music, written by a composer, or even your own, putting your emotions into musical vibrations that you can send off to somebody inside the audience. So this is how music doesn't become boring anymore. It's by getting back to the original meaning and purpose and reason for music actually existing. And so once again, my 3 steps to get into this realm, this universe that is truly music, is 1, taking a step back. You want to take a step back from all the old books that you have and had been learning and playing from for all those years. Even some of the songs that you might have learned from all those years ago. It's not forever, but it's for a certain period of time, because once again, you want to detach yourself from all this kind of habits that we built up, where we look at a page and we just try to play what's on the page, right? So that's step 1, taking a step back from our usual repertoire of songs and music. Step 2 is looking at what we enjoy already. I have a background in classical. I have a whole lot of classical music on my phone, right along with my R&B, my pop, my rap, my indie rock, my rock. Take a look at all of that. What do I enjoy? Who are some of my favorite artists? And after that, learning some of those songs, that does not hurt at all. Or this is kind of step 3, learning some of those songs, or you want to start making your own music and try to convey some emotions of your own. Not that you need to become a composer or a writer or the biggest star, unless you want to, but you want to convey the emotion. You want to get a communication out. And one of the best ways to do that is by composing music yourself. And honestly, just to add to my talk, my little rant for today, I don't look at music the same after composing. After composing and getting it and putting my whatever I wrote onto sheet music and getting that out to people, I never look at music the same. Because once you're the composer, like I've been saying, you really see the true meaning and purpose of music, which is to communicate. And so that from there on any instrument, on any song, whether it's yours or not, your goal is to communicate something to people. Once again, you don't need to become the biggest, but composing and writing and trying to get your emotions out is a beautiful practice. Getting into the real, true realm of music that has, been trampled on and kicked over and buried alive, but it's coming back from the dead. And yeah, so I hope this helps somebody who's listening. I hope it resonates, and I shall see you in the next video. Once again, seminar coming up December 28th and 29th for those watching around this time. For those in the future, I don't know if I'll have something around, but definitely check and look around. And yeah, I will see you all there December 28th and 29th. Peace and blessings.